Hey guys, welcome to CodeHeave. In this particular episode, we're going to talk about what is the remote repository mean and how can we work on those remote repository and then collaborate. How can these remote repositories are very helpful in the collaborative environment? How can we manage those repositories and push and pull the data from remote repository to our local system? So without wasting any time, let's get started. As I have covered a lot more thing about the Git in the previous videos of this series, so I would strongly recommend to watch that first because this video requires some kind of prerequisite knowledge that you can get from the previous videos. So remote repository is simply means the version of your local project that is stored in your system are hosted on somewhere on the internet. It means there are so many platforms where you can store your repositories and then maintain, such as GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. What does mean by collaborating thing? Collaborating with others means managing these remote repositories, uh, knowing how to add the repository, how to remove it, and manage various remote branches. So don't worry about this branches concept. We will cover in the later upcoming videos there, and define what to track or what to not track to Git, right? And pushing and pulling the data. So it means, let's say that there is a central repository of particular project, and you and your friend are working on that project. And whenever you have made any change, then you need to update the central repository as well. So for that, you need to push your changes to that central repository. And let's say that your friend makes any changes to that central repository. So you need to get those changes in your local system by using pull, git pull, right? So in that case, you're going to pull that data in your local system so that you can test, verify, or debug anything you want. So as you can see that this is my Git workspace, and I'm going to clone first the GitHub repository. So I have opened two different accounts in the two different browser, one in the Firefox and one in the Chrome. So you can see that this is the my account and the repository is demo here, where we have created this repository in the previous videos, where you can see that we have a contributing.md file here. So this is the my account, and the another one is the CodeHeave, which forked the demo repository from my account. And let's clone this repository to our local system, this CodeHeaves, because in this particular case, the central repository is my account. My personal account is the central repository. That is the copy that I have forked from the central repository, and I'm going to work on this repository using this CodeHeave account, right? So first of all, git clone. I hope you know the command that is git clone, and then paste the URL here. That is this github.com CodeHeave, and then the repository name. Then hit enter here. Then you can see that it successfully cloned the repository, and let's go into that is demo here. And to know the remote, what is the remote here, I mean whether it is connected to the GitHub's account or not, you just need to write git remote and then v. This attribute shows a URL of that GitHub account. So hit enter, and here you can see that by default the name of the remote is origin here. Whenever you clone any repository, then by default there is a origin remote there, and you can see that next to it is the URL, that is the GitHub CodeHeave and then demo that we have pasted while cloning this repository. And right now you can see that I just have a single remote here, because whenever I do just git remote, it shows me a just origin, that is the default one. So let's make another remote here. To add remote, we need git remote add, and then the name of the remote, give the name here the central, that is the central repository, and the URL for that is here. You can see that HTTP, and this is the my central repository. So copy this here, paste it here, hit enter. So my remote is added, and when I do git remote here and with v, you can see that I have a two remote now. One is the central and second one is the origin. So origin is the default one and central is that we have created. So let's say that how to push my changes to this repositories, right? So for that, as you can see that there is only contributing.md file is here. So let's make a change into this. So for that, I'm just using Vim here, simple text editor in the Linux. Hit enter and let's add a line that I am code heap and then save it. How to check that what is the status of this file? That is git status command. Now you can see that I have made the changes. So it's in not staged area. It means it's modified. So let's quickly add this in the tracked area. In the modified. So git add contributing.md. And now when I do git status again, you can see that changes to be committed. So to commit here, git commit and then message would be added the name. Hit enter. It says that one file changed and one insertion is there. And to push the data, git push, and now you need to pass a remote name here. Otherwise, it will just pick the default one, that is the origin. So let's pass the remote name, that is origin here. Hit enter. Now you have to pass the username, that is codeheap, and next the password. So as per the latest policies of the GitHub, you can't use your account password here. You need a personal token. I have pasted my token here, and then whenever I do hit enter, you can see that it pushed my changes, my local changes to the GitHub repository. So let's go to the repository. There is no change. You can see that the last commit is 26 minutes ago. To see the changes, you need to refresh this page and let's refresh it. And here you can see that added the name here. And let's open this file. Here you can see that I am code heap is there, right? So that's how we can push our local changes to the remote repository. That is the GitHub account. Let's say this something changed on the central repository. So the central repository is this one, right? And here you can see that it's saying a message that help people interested in this repository understand your project by adding readme. So let's quickly add this file readme. And here you can add our demo, simple commit now. So this change is done on the central repository. So when I go to here and git status, there is no change because right now the remote is origin, that is the default one. So to get those changes that I make on the central repository, you need to pull that data. So pull and then pass the remote name here, that is central. So there is a two command we can pass here, either pull or fetch. Either fetch or pull, right? One of them. So what fetch do? Fetch just gets the information and don't merge into your local Git repository, right? But whenever you do pull, it fetches the data from remote repository and then merge it into your local system. So we're gonna see both the example here. So let's quickly fetch the data first of all. And when I do fetch here, you can see that the data is fetched. So let's ls here. Right now I'm on my origins branch. So that's why I can't see the contribute. I can't see the readme.md file. We need to go to this branch. So for that, git checkout. Don't need to confuse here because I will cover this checkout and then branch concept in the upcoming videos. So just see that what is going on, right? That we have fetched some information from remote repository, from the central remote repository that is not my account. So there's some change on central. So I just fetch that information to my system. To get those changes, I need to change my branch. And whenever I do hit enter here, you can see that head is now on this hash and then create readme.md. And now when I do ls here, you can see readme.md. And the content in that is hash demo. That is we have added on the central repository, right? Let's go back to our branch. So that's how we fetch it. After fetching, I need to change the branch to see the changes, right? But let's say I want to download that information and then merge into my branch. So for that, we need to do git pull and then central, that is the remote name, and then the branch name here, that is the main. And it fetches the data and it tries to merge it, but it gives me a text editor to change my commit, the merge commit message, because the fetching the data is something that fetch command do, right? And after that we are merging those branches. So that is the one kind of commit. So we need to save it, and after that when I clear this, and now when I do ls, you can see that readme file is here. I don't need to change my branch, right? So currently I'm on my origin branch, and to see the changes, I don't need to change it to central/main. So that's what the difference between git fetch and then git pull. Next, let's see that there is some change on the central repository. On the same file, contributing.md, someone made a change here. Let's add something that I am maintainer. Oops, maintainer. Commit the changes. You can see that commit is done and updated contributing.md now, right? And let's try to pull the data again. Git pull central main. And now you can see what it says, auto merging, because that is one of the feature of git pull, that automatically merge the changes. So auto merging this contributing.md, but there is a conflict, merge conflict in the contributing.md, right? So we need to fix the conflict manually. That conflicts came because the same line got changed in the central repository and then the my local repository, right? So as you remember that I have changed the second line by adding I am code here, right? And pushed it into the my repository. Same thing when I make the changes in this contributing.md, that is the central one, then you can see I have changed the second line also. So the same line got changed. That's why it's saying there is a conflict there. And let's see what was the conflict. So we need to open the editor here. And now you can see that this is the head, that is the current changes we make, the origin, and these changes is for the maintainer one. So it is saying that there is a change on the same line. So what change you want to keep? You want to keep the central one or your own? So that's why it's saying conflict here. I want to keep the maintainer's changes. Let's remove my changes. So for that, I need to manually delete those lines. This head here, this my changes, and this last line. So finally, that's how the contributing.md look like when I merge it. Save it here, and when you can see that on git status it's saying that it's unmerged path. So what I need to do, I need to git add here, git commit, and after that nothing, everything is clean up in this tree. And the readme I have my readme file, and the changes here is hash demo. So that's how you can see that we have covered so many scenarios here. The first one is how can we make the local changes and push it to the R repository. That is the first one. Second is how can we pull the data from the central repository whenever something changed on the central repository. That is the second one. And the third one is what if we did the same changes? I make the change on the line number 2, and then someone changed on the central repository the line number 2. In that case, there is a merge conflict when I tries to pull the data. And so how to fix it? I need to manually pick the version or the code that you want to save, either the central one or your own local changes. So I made the changes manually. I hope you have understood these things. So that's it for this video. Please like, share, and hit the subscribe button to get the notification of the latest video. Thank you so much.